What's up, heroes? Back at it again, Darling in the Franks, episode 22. And I love this episode. It was a great episode. I'm going to recap all the main highlights, the important things, and also some speculations that I have for what's coming in episode 23. So stay tuned for that. Also, really quick thing to mention, my live stream will be happening today, post episode 22 live stream, where we talk about everything that went on in real time. So if you want to join that, link right above, you can click that and see when the stream is live. That's going to be 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today, Saturday. But again, if you want to see when it's live, it's already got its own link and stuff. You can take a look right there. Anyways, let's get into the reviews. So, like I said, my overall thoughts on this episode is that it was an amazing episode. Even though nothing really surprised me. I mean, everything that we got in this episode, we were kind of speculating on. For example, 02's consciousness was indeed linked in Strelitzia Epas, which we talked about this whole week. We've been making theories on that and talking about it in the comments. I've been talking to you guys in the streams from last week and all that. So we were spot on there. The only thing that surprised me, though, was the cryostasis of the disposed parasites. And I'm really glad we had that scene for a few reasons. The first one, obviously, it finally let us know what happened to parasites that were deemed failures. We always speculated on what happened, and, you know, the most clear-cut thing that we could assume is that they were just killed off. Or just, you know, basically either straight up killed off or just abandoned so they would die off because they wouldn't be able to survive. The alternative that I thought way back, like a few months ago with my old theory, was that those failed parasites might be being used as energy sources or something like that, but that was disproven a long time ago. So finally we find out what indeed did happen to them, and that was that they have been frozen, their memories stored. Same thing with adults. Some adults are stored as well, so that's pretty crazy. And the second thing I really like about that scene, number one, it surprised me. Number two, let me put it this way, the third thing. So number one, it surprised me. Number two, it tied everything in nicely with the disposed parasites. And number three, it continued to give Werner, aka Dr. FranXX, redemption. Even in his death, he's getting even more redemption because Werner continues to get that redemption from the grave. As we see, he left Hachi orders from Nana. Okay, obviously I'm reading notes here. Let me rephrase that. Okay. He clearly left orders for Hachi, and Hachi, he basically tells Hachi and Nana to become parents for the parasites that are still alive. So, indeed, Werner, Dr. FranXX, cared about the parasites, and he felt bad about the horrible things that he had done throughout his life. And, you know, the last few episodes, we saw him opening up and showing that caring side more and more and more. Especially last episode, but now this episode that's reinforced even more so. So I'm glad, because Dr. FranXX is honestly my favorite character in this show. I think he's the most well thought out, complex, most fleshed out character in the show. I also still love 02, obviously. She's a very good character as well, but I just find Dr. FranXX slightly more interesting. I like that morality issues he had, where when he was younger, he would just kind of do whatever he wanted. And then as he got older, he realized that there are some things in life you can't take for granted, and you need to appreciate those things. And he did whatever he could to make right the horrible crimes he committed in the past. So yeah, he did horrible stuff to 02, but even 02 forgave him for that. And just a good character. I like how his story has been concluding. So moving on, we see that Squad 13 and the Nines will team up to fight Verm in space. So we're gonna have Squad 13, we're going to have the Calaxosaur, we're going to have the Nines all fighting Verm. But the Nines still have no maintenance, and they are still looking pretty bad. So the death flags are very high for the Nines. I don't think they're going to return from this battle in space. Might be surprised, but to be honest, I'll be very surprised if they return. I think all the Nines are going to die. And not just for the fact that they're already on the verge of death and they're entering a literal, like, War of the Worlds in space, but also for the fact that it seems like we either might get like one of two endings. One ending where only humans repopulate the Earth, and yes, that would mean 02 and Hiro are going to die in space. I'll get to that later. Or two, we're just going to have like a repopulation of Earth with Calaxosapien 2.0s and humans sharing the Earth. But like I said, I'll get to that a little bit later. Anyways, so speaking of Nan and Hachi, which we talked about a little bit already, let's talk about them a little bit more. Hachi continues to do good. Hachi, for a few episodes now, has been accepting his emotions and his parental kind of role for the parasites. But finally, Nana is like good to go again. She is, strangely enough, she's accepting those emotions at a latter point than Hachi is. It kind of looked like it would be the opposite way for a while. But that's okay. It certainly made an interesting arc for Nana. And we see that she actually is motivated so much by her emotions, so much for her calling to care for these kids that need her there in their life, that when she sees random parasite number that we don't know crying, really depressed, she actually goes to go over there. She actually gets up. So she gets use of her legs again through the emotions of her caring for those parasites to comfort that parasite. She gets up, she walks over, and even then she still hesitates to touch a little bit. But she beats that hesitation, accepts her emotions, and gives a nice hug and comforts the parasite. And the parasite, there's no words exchanged, but the parasite leans into her. I feel weird calling it the parasite. It's like such a derogatory thing, but that's what they're calling the show. So, yeah. So that's a cool scene there. Non and Hachi definitely taking their roles of parental roles very seriously, and I think they're doing a pretty good job. So I really like to see that as well. Let's talk about space now. So the fight will be in space, as we talked about, and according to Soda Milky on Discord, thank you for doing this math, we're looking at 54.6 million to 225 million kilometers from Earth. That's where this fight in space will take place. So that is really far from Earth. How are they going to get there? Well, those Klaxor ships must be pretty dang legit. Or the FranXX are very good at piloting in space or something as well. I don't know if like we're going to have all of Squad 13 in their FranXX on that Klaxor ship. I guess we will. Must be a pretty big ship. Because it wouldn't make sense for Hiro to just go in the ship alone and the other Squad 13 members to like fly next to it. That wouldn't really make sense. So I imagine they're all going to take that ship. So yeah, big ship. Should work out. All right. Now let's talk about that distance. Like I said, it's a great distance away from Earth. That could open the possibility, and here's some speculation for episode 23, could open some possibilities for Strelitzia Apis to self-destruct, taking out all of Verm. And it's such a distance away from Earth that Earth would be fine. But what about Squad 13 and the 9s there? Well, they're still going to be in pretty close distance, so I don't think this is too likely, and I hope it's not, because that would mean that Hiro and 02 will die. They will sacrifice themselves and Strelitzia Apis and the Klaxosaur Princess and all the remaining Klaxosaurs in order to take out Verm and save Squad 13 and the 9s from their fight. Excuse me. But then again, like I said, the 9s are probably still going to die, so it would be more so saving Squad 13. But like I just said as well, the Squad 13 is still going to be really close to Strelitzia Apis, even though Earth is far away. So I don't think that's too likely. And again, I hope it's not, because that would imply Hiro and 02 will die. Either way, though, I mean, alternatively, getting ahead of myself, alternatively, we could see a new form for Strelitzia Apis, similar to how we saw Red Strelitzia back in episode 15, when Hiro freed 02 from the Rage Stampede mode, of Strelitzia Apis. They achieved that new form. We might see something similar with Strelitzia Apis. And I think I said Strelitzia Apis when I meant to say Strelitzia a moment ago. My apologies. But you might see something similar with Apis. Now, what's going to be weird is having two blue Onis there. The Klaxor Princess is clearly still alive. We know that she has this grand control over all things Klaxosaur, due to the way the Klaxosaur sapiens are linked with the Klaxosaur and all that stuff. You guys already know how that works. So, based off the fact that we see all these Klaxosaur ships still going in space, we still see fighting in space, it's implied that the Klaxosaur Princess is still alive. So when Hiro gets up there, we're going to have two blue Oni characters, the KP, Hiro, and 02. What's going to happen then? I'm not too sure, to be honest. There's a few different ways that could go down, but I don't really want to speculate on that right now because there's not enough proof to really make a good assumption. There's just, different areas that we can assume it'll play out, but nothing that I can say concrete, so I'm not going to theorize on that. I like to have a little bit more solidity behind my theories. For example, the distance from the fight in Earth. That's more solid. Anyways, so there are death flags for 02 and Hiro, as I discussed, but I don't think that's too likely. So what happens? What happens in the grand ending of the show? Well, we know that Earth will be given back to the humans, and if Hiro and 02 are dead and the 9s die, it'll only be the humans that repopulate the Earth, and that does have some merit from a writing standpoint, because humanity in this show has never had Earth to themselves specifically. It's always been humanity and the Klaxosaurs, and the Klaxosaurs obviously were preparing for Verm to return. So though it was humanity and the Klaxosaurs, at some point Verm was going to come back, and then you would have this three-way fight for Earth. Not that Verm wanted Earth specifically, but you guys know what I mean. They were willing to take out all of Earth, so that's what I mean. And from a writing standpoint, humans being the only species to repopulate the Earth has a lot of merit. But that said, that would, like I said, I keep saying like I said, that would mean that Hiro and 02 will die. So I don't think that's too likely. So it's interesting. I think we'll probably have a repopulation of Earth with Calaxosapien 2.0s, this new species of Calaxosaur, meaning 02 and Hiro, and they are way different than the original Calaxosaurs, remember, because these are clones. They're not like the original Calaxosapiens. So there is that. Let's see, where am I in my notes? Either way, since it's implied the Calaxosaur are losing, or at the best case in a stalemate, there will need to be a huge change to... Okay, yeah. So yeah, no matter how the Strelitzia apis thing plays out, whether it's a new form, or it explodes, or they just win, they're going to need to turn the tide somehow, because right now, as we can see, the Calaxosaurs are not really winning that fight. At best, it's totally 50-50 right now. So we're going to need something, because I don't know if a few FranXX, Squad 13 and the 9s, a few FranXX is enough to turn the tides of battle. For, you know, when we saw the fight going on Earth, the 9s and Squad 13 and all the parasites were not doing much to fight off Verm. What really fought them off was Strelitzia apis. So even if they all join the fight, is it enough? I don't think so. That's why we definitely probably will get a new form for Apis, or it explodes, or any of that stuff we already talked about. And wow, we're almost done here. The final thing to talk about is the ending. There's one more thing that we can speculate on, more information given to us that will help us figure out how the show might end, and that's the fairy tale book. So we see that Hiro finds the fairy tale book, and it's left on the last page where the princess leaves the prince and she takes to the skies. They're both separated. Now, that's playing out already in the show, as 02 has taken to the skies, taken to space, and left Hiro alone because she's doing what she thinks is right, fighting to protect Earth, fighting to protect her darling and everyone she cares about. But we know that the Xian bird needs that combination. They need to lean on each other to succeed. So Hiro will join with her. They will succeed, probably with that new form, but we'll see. And then we'll see how it plays out when they return to Earth, because as we already know as well, 02 was rewriting the ending of that fairy tale book. So though she didn't get to finish it, there's two ways to look at that really. She was rewriting it, but since she didn't finish rewriting it, the ending is going to be the sad ending that the fairy tale book originally had. But I digress. I would counter that by saying she has already started rewriting that ending, so that's no longer the ending. There is more going on after that ending in the fairy tale book that 02 was rewriting. And although she didn't finish it, there still is more to it than that. And the final way to rewrite that ending will be for 02 and Hiro to return to Earth to repopulate the Earth with anyone who survives. I'm not saying that they all do it together. That's nonsense. You know, it's Hiro and 02 is the ship. All right? You guys don't take what I said the wrong way, all right? Okay, good. So point is, I think we'll have that happy ending. I think Hiro and 02 will repopulate the Earth. All the remaining people will repopulate the Earth as well. Kokoro's baby, all that stuff. I think we'll have a happy ending. And all will start from Mistelheim as we find out Mistelheim does indeed have soil from pre-desertification Earth. So that's where our show will conclude. And I gotta say, based on this episode, it is looking less likely to get a season 2, less likely to get OVA, less likely to get a manga continuation, in my opinion. They can definitely conclude Verm in this fight next episode. Conclude everything next episode and just have whatever's left over to conclude in the epilogue. Whatever you're left over being this kind of slice of life stuff with everyone returning to Mistelheim, settling down and starting to sow the seeds of the new Earth. That seems like the most likely way for this to play out. And that does make me sad a little bit because I was honestly kind of hoping for a second season, even if it was only like 6 to 12 episodes. I think it could have been cool. Plus, I just really like reviewing the show. It's been a lot of fun, and I like to speculate on this stuff. It's always a lot of fun when an anime is fresh and new, and there's no manga ahead of it, so the community can come together and theorize together. I'll really miss talking to you guys in the comments, on the streams, all that stuff, on the Discord. It's been really fun, and if there's no second season and no OVAs, then that's going to be the end of it, really. I mean, we can still talk about it, but, you know, it's not going to be the same as when the show's actually airing. So I'm a little sad about that. At the same time, I wouldn't want a second season or OVAs if they were going to be bad. I'd rather just have season 1 conclude on a high note, and it's looking like that's how it's going to play out. So still a great show. We still got 2 episodes left. We'll see how it all ends, but thank you for being with me on that ride. And I want to reiterate, live stream today, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Again, that link is in the card. I think it's on the side of the video now. If you hover there or press it or something, you should be able to see it. It's also on my channel on the front page, so you can take a look there. Leave a comment on that stream. It's already up. The chat box is there. You can leave a comment, and it'll be there for everyone to see. It'd be kind of cool. leave something cool or funny or witty or random, whatever. And leave me your thoughts on this episode in the comments below as well. Of course, I gotta go now, get ready for work, but I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you later for the stream. Have a good Saturday, and I'll see you soon. Peace.